The Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi had ascended through the ranks of the Jedi Order, in part due to his judicious following of the Jedi Code and becoming the model Jedi. But upon gaining the powerful Padawan of Anakin Skywalker, the Jedi turned a blind eye to the obvious attachment between Anakin and his secret wife, Senator Padme Amidala of Naboo. The loyalty he had demonstrated to his unique master Qui-Gon was reflected in his approach to the teachings of Anakin, and it would cost them the war, as the disguised Dark Lord of the Sith Chancellor Palpatine preyed upon Anakin's attachment and his distrust in the Jedi Council to turn him to the dark side of the Force. After the execution of Order 66, in which Obi-Wan had survived the betrayal of his clone troopers on the planet of Utapau, the Jedi Master was dispatched to hunt his fallen apprentice by Yoda, and he instinctively headed off to Padme's apartment, but he had arrived too late, as even with her help, Anakin had become possessed with his new powers, and inadvertently killed Padme. But what if Obi-Wan had found out about Anakin's marriage at an inopportune moment? Would this assist or hinder the Council? As you're going to discover, the future of the Jedi and the Republic could have taken a different path. The broken half of the invisible hand skidded onto the floor of Coruscant's airstrip, and all of the survivors aboard looked shaken that they had managed to return to the Galactic City. A shuttle bus whisked them to the floor of the Senate building, and Obi-Wan declared that he had to report to the Jedi Council, so he left Anakin to bask in the glory of the politicians. But the Jedi Master's curiosity got the better of him, as he observed Master Windu guiding the senators inside, and to his horror, he saw that Anakin had not gone inside, but stayed behind a pillar with Senator Amidala. Obi-Wan perfectly timed his interruption to the shock of them both, declaring Anakin had breached the Jedi Code. The Jedi Knight bowed his head in shame, but protected Padme from any harm that could reach her, as Obi-Wan walked back to the temple. The Jedi Master planned to go straight for the Council chamber, but he quickly realised that it would result in Anakin's immediate expulsion. Obi-Wan thus turns to the quarters of Grandmaster Yoda, and the old Jedi had been expecting him. Obi-Wan does not waste any time in revealing Anakin's attachment to Senator Amidala, and Yoda turns to the window in thought. Yoda always knew that Anakin had much fear in him, and this was inevitable for the Jedi Knight. Yoda decided to summon Anakin to his quarters, and the Jedi Knight was expecting to be expelled, but to his surprise, he would be trained to channel his compassion and inner dark side. As he stood in front of the other council members, Anakin turned to Yoda, who pointed to Windu as the one to continue the training of Anakin. The Karoo Master looked at Yoda with disgust, ordering for Anakin to be exiled for his breach of the Jedi Code, and the Council hold a vote to decide his fate. If Anakin did not have enough doubts to be dealing with, the Jedi Knight later awoke to nightmares of Padme dying in childbirth, and he was very keen to find out what the Council had voted. In a majority decision, the Council had exiled Anakin from the Order, and he stomped off to the Chancellor's office, seeking the advice of his friend Palpatine. The Chancellor continued to play his game, and remarked that the Council's decision was a blessing for Anakin to unleash his true power, and it left Anakin to think of other methods to save Padme. The former Jedi returned to Padme's apartment, and he promised the Senator that he would be her bodyguard, and to protect their future children and her life. With what the Council felt to be a necessary departure of Anakin, their original plan to have a spy on the Chancellor been scuppered, and they choose an alternate route by leaving him alone until the fall of Grievous. Obi-Wan and Plo Koon are disgusted by the expulsion of Anakin, and are unwilling to let the matter be swept away, visiting Anakin alongside Padme. The Jedi regards his departure to be a blessing, as it meant the strain of the secrecy had been released, and he could finally start the family he craved, despite his nightmares. The Jedi are worried that Anakin's services would make him vulnerable to the dark side, and little did they know that he was beginning his fall. Anakin is invited to the galaxy's opera house in the entertainment district for a discussion along with Palpatine, and Anakin confirms that the Chancellor had been right about the Jedi restricting his potential. Palpatine grinned evilly and began to manipulate Anakin with the teachings of the dark side, promising him that he would be able to save Padme from dying with the legend of Plagueis. Anakin's temptation to fulfill his Force potential was overwhelmed by his desire to save Padme, and Palpatine realised that Anakin's attachment could also be a detriment to his aims of making him his apprentice. The Senator would have to be eliminated. That is it for part 1 of What If Obi-Wan Found Anakin's Marriage and Revenge of the Sith. If you'd like to see a part 2 soon, please like this video, turn on the notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.